All right. Well, hello again to all the boys and girls out there in YouTube land watching. John and Ellie of Georgia Beer Reviews back at you this evening with another Bourbon County examination. We're doing any year, any variant, and I am joined by Mr. Michael Kormeroff this evening. It's been a while. Good to see you again.
Hello, John. Good to see you too.
All right, and we'll go ahead and just get right into it. Let's. Why don't you tell us which year you're drinking?
You can tell by the thing on the top. That's the only place where they give you the year under here. It's a 2020 Bourbon County brand stout, and the ABV is 14.6%. And I'm not sure when these bottles came out because originally it was a different type bottle than this and didn't have this front end on the thing on the top. But it's been this way, I think, at least for 4 or 5 years, maybe even 6 years. I think it's since the problem they had with the fermentation issues, they switched the bottle.
Right. I think 2016 was the first year that they put them in these bottles and took the
before that they were more of a straight bottle, but it was still 16.9 ounces.
Right.
So miscellaneous is on soap now. I don't know if he's not watching this yet, but he's on soap. All right, so that's the year I have, 2020.
Okay. And I have a 2018 bottle. Same looking bottle as yours, obviously, just a different year. And mine is 0.1% higher in alcohol. We got 14.6. This one is 14.7. So it'll be interesting to see if we can detect any differences between the two as far as the aromas and the flavor profile. I've had both years, but not side by side. So, and this will be one of the older ones. This is almost 4 years on this one. So maybe the oldest Bourbon County that I've had in relation to, I've had 2016, 2017, but I was drinking them when they were fresher. This one's obviously got some age to it now. So let's go ahead and get right into these. I know you've already cracked yours open, so go ahead and pour it up. Mine. And really quick, we'll go to the chat. We got Bumpy in the chat. We got Josh Last Beer. We've got Drunken One. And Bumpy says he can't wait to see what I thought of, or what I think of the 2018. He was disappointed with the 2018. Okay, interesting. All right. While you're pouring yours, I'm going to go ahead and pour mine. And when you're ready, you can start describing it to us.
Okay. I think this is indicative of all the years pretty much. You get kind of even darker head, almost like the head is approaching dark brown. It's past tan. It's like, I'm trying to decide, like almost a mahogany coloration to the head. And you can see that the carbonation is really shooting up the middle of the beer, which is nice. And I think Bourbon County beers tend to be more on the heavily carbonated side. That's what it looks like in the glass. Very dark brown, bordering on black. You can't literally see through it, through the light, but you can tell it's not black, that it's very dark brown. Good looking glass of beer, though, if you think about it. Very nice. Does yours look similar?
It does, although mine did not pour with a head at all. It's got like a little thin beige film, but pretty flat on the appearance, but the color and everything is the same as you described.
Well, I expect this to be a fast declining head. So the fact that I had it before, if you notice, it's already declining. It was up here, and now it's already down like 1/4 of an inch, maybe 1/2 an inch. So it'll any time in these high alcohol stouts, they have a lot of trouble holding the head just based on what they are. So it's if I do swizzle the glass, it does come back a little bit, but it doesn't come back as high as it was. You got your nose on yours?
Yeah, it smells really good. Eric in the chat was asking for a link. I sent a link. It's in the Wankers Hangout chat. So if you have a Bourbon County and you want to join, Eric, it's not too late. You're more than welcome to hop on in here. So on the nose, I'm getting a lot of barrel, a lot of bourbon barrel in the form of vanilla, oak. There's a caramel note in there. Of course, from the roasted malt, you're getting dark chocolate. There's a little bit of that tobacco note that I get with the Bourbon County. It's one of the few barrel-aged stouts that just seems to consistently have that sweet tobacco aroma. I think there's a little bit of a dark fruit note in there as well, maybe a date or a fig. I think it's more on the fig side. I mean, it smells absolutely incredible. I've never been disappointed with the aroma on a standard Bourbon County. It's just got so much going on with it, so complex, and the 14.7% doesn't really come through on the nose. I mean, you can tell that this product has been aged, and it's got the bourbon, the different aromas that I just described, but it doesn't really smell very alcohol forward. It smells absolutely delightful. So I'm ready to dive in soon, but I'm going to let you
I'm
add if you've got any.
going to try to find the similar noses that you had, but something tells me that mine could be a little different or maybe very similar. Let's see. All right, I'm getting the same barrel effect that you're getting. You can tell right off the bat that it's barrel aged. So I'm getting that. Let's see what other flavors I can get in. Some nose notes I can get beside that. It's funny. I'm getting kind of like a cherry kind of thing, which is different. And I think in other bourbon counties in the past I've gotten that too. I'm getting it's maybe a little bit sweeter in what I'm getting. So I'm getting a cherry note in mine.
That's interesting. I can definitely see. I think mine is presenting more as like a dark fruit note, but maybe because yours is 2 years newer, it hasn't maybe developed as much with the dark fruit notes, and it's coming across more as cherry. But that's an interesting note that you're getting there.
I'm getting vanilla like you did, and I'm getting some chocolate. The chocolate I'm getting though is not as dark chocolate. I'm getting kind of a mid-range chocolate. I know in some of these bourbon counties you get a dark chocolate. This is more not a baker's chocolate. It's more like maybe a sweet kind of chocolate kind of note.
Yeah, I think the caramel note that I mentioned with the dark chocolate kind of comes across maybe a little bit more sweet.
Now, I'm not getting the tobacco note you got. I don't know why not. Maybe that's a developmental thing over more time that's coming. I've had tobacco notes before in other bourbon counties, though. This one doesn't seem to be doing it right now. I'm looking at the other ones you had. So maybe the dark fruit I'm getting is the cherry note, because I'm not really getting dark fruit in mine either.
It's funny, though, you say cherry, and the more I smell it here, I can definitely see there being like a black cherry note in there.
I'm getting the oak as well. You got some oak, I'm getting some oak.
Right. Yeah, I think if people are drinking Bourbon County and they're not picking up on the oak, then they're doing something wrong, because as far as the barrel notes, it's some of the most pronounced barrel notes on any barrel-aged stout in a good way. Not like it's super boozy, but just with the complexity and the oak and the vanilla and everything that we've just described. Really quick, wanted to just go to the chat. Turtle Man's in the chat. Cheers to you, Turtle Man. And, of course, I think I already mentioned Josh. He says he's got a new show tonight called Beer Pals. I think he's joking around there because Alex has got his Alex and Friends coming up tomorrow night. And we've got Sam Smalley in the chat as well. Good day, boys. Good day to you, Sam. Thanks for tuning in. All right. I know you're excited. I'm excited. I'm thirsty. You're thirsty. Let's go ahead and dive in.
I guess it's time to take a shot and see what it's like.
Absolutely. Let's do it. Cheers.
Wow.
Definitely getting the tobacco even more pronounced on the palate with this one. The dark fruits coming through, the oak, the caramel, a little toffee in there as well. It's very rich with that flavor. Man, it's Bourbon County. This is awesome.
Are you getting anything new that you didn't describe in the nose?
So it's definitely dark fruit on the palate, like fig. I kind of was getting a little bit of the cherry the more I guess maybe by the power of persuasion and just listening to you describe it, but there was a little bit more of that on the nose. It's not translating to the palate so much, but definitely the dark fruit, the oak, the vanilla, that tobacco note is really coming in nicely. It's very pronounced, more so than the last few bourbon counties I've had, and I think maybe the extra aging has helped with that. Those notes are coming through a little bit more. They've developed more because it is an older bottle. The body is rich. The carbonation is pretty low with this, as with most of your barrel aged products. You're not going to have like a super high carbonation, but there is a noticeable carbonation. It's not flat. It's absolutely delightful.
So Bumpy is saying when he drank his 2018, it was lacking barrel and malt complexity, in his opinion. He said it was chocolate with a touch of plum. He wanted leather, oak, and vanilla, but couldn't find it.
Well, Bumpy,
look, John, everybody's got a different palate. So your bottle may be different than his. I mean, there's a lot of different reasons why it's not exactly the same for every person who drinks any beer. So,
right.
It's just the way it is. All right, I'm going to take another sip and I'll give you my description.
All right.
So I'm getting the cherry in my taste as well.
Okay.
So again, it's different for everybody. I'm getting vanilla as you did, as well as I'm getting the oak and the barrel. I still am not getting tobacco.
Interesting. Okay.
But you know what's interesting? I'm getting kind of a leathery kind of thing. Now, have you ever had leather in this? Because I'm getting a leather feel. It's not tobacco. It's almost like, how can I describe leather to you in a taste? It's almost like a dryness kind of thing. I don't know, it's hard to describe.
That's one thing that I don't really get a lot with these beers, and it may just be because I feel like I can't really relate to like when you go into like a leather store, that does like belts and shoes and stuff, like a real store like that, where that's what they do, and then you get that strong leather smell. I've gotten leather on aromas before with beer, but I've never really had that experience translate to the palate because leather is not something that I consume, so I don't really relate to.
It's almost like you just have to draw a flavor that you would compare it to. It's probably not directly leather. It's right. Like a dry.
It definitely has the dry.
It's a feel to what it is.
And I could see that. Yeah, I mean, I understand.
I've had tobacco in other bourbon counties that I've had, so I know exactly what you're talking about. The smoothness is incredible.
Yeah,
and I think it's true in most bourbon counties, but this in this 2020, which is almost 2 years old, it is really smooth. I don't know if you had it. Yours is 2 years older, but it's really smooth.
Right. Yeah, this is very smooth as well. Drunken One actually made an interesting comment here that is, I can relate with that. Like when you chew the laces on a baseball glove. Yeah.
That's kind of that's what it's like, I guess.
Right. Bumpy says, like when you bite your wallet because it ate all your money.
That's funny. I like
that. I think for me, this is the most tobacco that I've ever gotten out of a Bourbon County Stout. It may be because it's one of the oldest bourbon counties that I've had, as far as just with the aging, being almost 4 years old. a ton of tobacco, which really I think is the star of the show with this. Of course, the dark chocolate, the roasted malt, and the barrel notes are all coming through, but it leads off with that tobacco, and then the dark fruit comes in right after that, and then you're getting all the barrel and then the dark chocolate and all that. As I swallow it down, it is a little warming, but it's not really boozy. It doesn't drink like a 14.7, I don't think. But yeah, I mean it's an outstanding beer, and I'm really impressed with the complexity with this one. I feel like the age has really done wonders for this beer.
Now, John, I'm not sure if you can remember. You'll remember the fact that Miscellaneous sent you those 3 bottles together when you were still in Noonan, and one of those was an 18. Now, it wasn't as mature as the one you're having today. Is there a difference between the two, or is it hard to regulate because it's hard to hone in on that exact beer?
Because I drink a lot of the Bourbon County, and it's one of my favorite beers of all time, I do remember that drinking experience. And at the time, it was only, I think, it was like going on 2 years old.
Yeah, it was a while ago.
Versus this is 4 years old. It was a definite or a noticeable difference. I do not recall getting the tobacco notes to this extent that I'm getting with this bottle now, with any year, not just because the vertical that he sent me was the 2017, the 2018, the 2019.
Right.
And yeah, none of those had the tobacco notes as strong as noticeable as with this one. I feel like it's the extra aging has given that a little bit of a boost for whatever reason. And I think the dark fruit is coming through a little bit more, whereas with the other 2018 bottle, the time that I drank it, from what I recall, it was more roasted malt and then just the bourbon coming through. So the oak and the vanilla. You still get the oak and the vanilla with this, but the tobacco and the dark fruit are the lead flavors with this one,
right?
Which I like.
This is the first time I've had this much black cherry in any Bourbon County I've ever had, which I don't know why. Maybe
right.
It could even be the day you have it. You have a knack for picking up a cherry, which you might
could,
have picked up on some other time. Because I'm not getting the dark fruit, but I'm getting the cherry, and I like cherry in beer too. So for me, that's a very positive taste. So,
unless you're drinking the midnight orange variant,
well,
and you're getting cherry, and you're supposed to be getting orange.
If you're looking for orange and you're getting cherry, then it's a little bit different. But like I told you, if they had called that midnight cherry, I would have given it a 98.
Right.
We ended up giving it a 95. We took off 3 points for the fact that we couldn't find their taste. And if they labeled it that, it should be closer to that. That wasn't a bad beer. Don't get me wrong. But I think Doug bought that one and he paid, the regular outrageous price.
You pay more for the variants than the standard.
Right. And it didn't give you anything extra.
And it didn't give you what you were hoping for. Really quick, I want to go to the chat and just say, Bumpy, cheers to you. Thanks for stopping by. He's about to go on Tanner's show, Will It Mix? So everybody, definitely, if you haven't already checked out East Coast LQ Reviews, go over there. They've got a good show going on tonight. And we'll see you over there after this is over. Bumpy, thanks for watching.
Actually, the only people, John, that I've really had association with on these YouTube shows at all, or on these, they're not YouTube shows, they end up on YouTube. They're done here, is with either Beerman or Bumpy. And I've seen a lot of Tanner because he's been appearing as a regular guest on their show. So I've seen him a lot. And I think Alex was on one, and, not that, again, there haven't been that many I've done during the summer. But it's interesting that Jay is hosting Stout Sunday, and I'm at the beach already or on my way to the beach by the time the show comes on. So I watched the replay, and Jean's been on, Robert the Whiskey Scout's been on.
Right.
Definitely not as well attended as some of the shows we did before. But I think as we got into the warmer weather, they were less attended. So
right. And, Thrawn is watching. Of course, I appreciate him keeping the show alive while you've got your beach club, and I've got baseball and a lot of stuff going on Sunday mornings right now, probably for another 3 to 4 weeks. And then after that, I'll be able to return to hosting. But yeah, it's always fun to watch the guys on Sunday morning as I'm able to. I think Robert was on last weekend, which was nice to see him. I think it was John, Robert, and Jay. So smaller panel, but they're drinking some really good beers and doing a good job with the show. Man, I'm really blown away by this. It's always hard for me to really put it into perspective because I would say pretty much all of the bourbon counties that I've had are either 98, 99, or 100. So they're all, for me, 98, 99, 100, they're all varying levels of world class. It's just how good of a world-class beer is it compared to the other years and the different aged bottles that I've had.
Does Robert have soap?
Yes. So Robert, the link is in Wankers. It's in soap. Please hop on in if you want. I could even.
Could you send him a separate link?
Let me see if I can. Yeah, I'm on my iPad. I'm not on my computer, so I can't really. Here, Robert, I will. It's in the Wankers, which you can. It's right up there. I will also send you a separate link if you'd like. Give me just a second. Oh, he figured it out. All right. There he is. Hello, Robert.
Good to see you.
I thought you guys was going to be at 9 o'clock, so I was expecting it closer to 8.
We were just waiting until after the Wild Card Wednesday and the King Cobra examination. They finished up a little early, so we went ahead and got started.
Yeah, I went to the liquor store. The one I got down the street, they got nothing but Mickey's in that place for no King Cobras, they don't have no malt liquors other than Mickey's. So let me adjust my screens a little bit because that's really screwing me up right now. Why this screen is, come on. I'm sorry, guys. Give me a second.
No problem. Glad you could hop in here.
I got a chance to watch you, Robert, on Stout Sunday last week.
Was it last week?
Or maybe was it 10 days ago? It wasn't.
I think it was 2 weeks ago.
Maybe it was 2 weeks ago. Because I've been, like I told John, I've been at the beach now in the mornings and early afternoons now. And I think Orchie makes a special effort to leave early now.
Topped it off. Got a little bit ahead with that top off there. Well, that's the most head I've seen with it so far.
Well, I got home, so I went ahead and put this in the freezer when I got home about an hour and a half ago. So
you've got a variant. That's not the original. That's a variant, isn't it? That's
You want me to get the original?
No, that's fine.
No. It's
we said any bourbon.
Yes, I did. It's any year, any variant. No, I'm just excited that you got something a little different. That's all.
Kilogram T is this one. I don't know if you can read that or not. Kilogram T.
Let me pull you up and see if
that's not wanting to focus too well, but
I don't think
it Robert, says kilogram.
What year is it?
2020, and that's kilogram T is the what that says there.
What's the alcohol?
14.1%. Drink by 12 August to 22. So heck, now's the time.
That's interesting. I've heard of the green, the fog one, the fog tea one, but I don't think I've ever seen or heard of the kilogram tea. That's interesting. That's new to me.
Stout aged in bourbon barrels, blended with Earl Grey tea, black tea, and honey. And it says, it just says kilogram tea on the back. Made with tea from our friends at Kilogram Tea. I had 2 of them.
Okay.
I drank one, and this is the one I had left. And so
I have never heard of that one either, but it's great that you got a new variant.
Well, it's not new. It's 2020.
I know, but it's great that you
new to us.
New to us.
Different. Very different.
Robert, why don't you do the nose on it and give us a little bit?
Let's let her sit just
let's sit for a minute and settle.
Yeah, just pour it. It got maybe a quarter of a finger on the head. It developed on pour. It is the head that it develops, kind of that dense foam look, but it's evaporating. That's not the word I'm looking for, but it's dissipating rather
Look,
quickly.
remember mine, John? It's almost all gone. Just a rim head now on mine.
Yeah, that little head that I just poured has already dissipated. However, when I tilt the glass, you can see like bubbles kind of going up there. But it's got some good carbonation for a bourbon barrel aged beer going on 4 years old.
Wow. Because it's not completely cold. It's kind of it's really in a stout zone. It's not cold. It's not hot. It's kind of that cool, not lukewarm, obviously, but probably that slightly cool zone. It's not overtly cold.
It's like a mid-range for a stout.
Yeah.
Cool hand Luke range.
Yeah. Yeah, me and my wife was watching the show, and I was like, well, it's 9 o'clock. They should be on by now. And I got in here, and I was like, oh, they're already gone. Dang it. Come on now.
So what's the nose like?
The nose is malty. It's got the roasted malts, but there's also some lighter malts I'm noticing on it. I'm noticing a little bit of oak. And the tea comes across. There's like it does say honey. I get to say there is a honey sweetness coming off the nose. And if I remember right, that's what I just read. Black tea and honey. So you do get the honey on the nose. And you get the black tea. You get the tea. I won't say necessarily black tea. So you get a tea note. And it is a combination of Earl Grey and black.
Two of my favorite types of tea.
Oh, yeah. I love Earl Grey. If it's Earl Grey or chai, I've tried them all. Chamomile occasionally just for the hell of it, but Earl Grey or chai is my two go-tos. This comes across very sweet, almost, I don't know. It's like a soft drink type sweetness, but I can't really sit here and, it's
like the cola notes that you get in a lot of the.
You know what it's like? Have you ever had Thai tea? Sweet Thai tea?
Don't think so. I don't know if I have.
Okay. It's got that kind of Thai tea sort of note with that sweetness coming off, plus the tea note. Then the roasted malts are there, but they're not super strong. And like I said, there's lighter malts. We're getting it's not all that roasty toasty. I'm getting almost like a brown ale note to it as well.
So the variant is toning down the Bourbon County effect, the basic stout, which is the base beer for all their variants too.
Mm-hmm. But the oak is there. The oak does stay steady through it, but it's real.
Have the oak too, okay.
It's not super strong or nothing. I'm not getting any. Okay. Now, when Thai tea, a lot of times you get that vanilla mixed in with that sweetness and that tea note, and that's coming through now. That vanilla. I mean, it's a lot like that.
So this is a good variant in that what they were trying to do, they've accomplished it because Robert's getting the taste, at least in the nose. Anyway, we'll see if the taste is similar, but he's getting it in the nose. Yeah,
usually nose follows taste with these bourbon counties, and the same with CBS and KBS. I've noticed
that's true too.
They tend to. Okay, well, I'm going to dig in because it's not really changing now. We've kind of settled.
Okay, cheers, right. Robert. Have a good sip.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers. Yeah, it sounds really good.
More barrel effect on the palate. Get the roasting malts are real background. The barrel effect, just a touch of the caramel, but then the honey sets in. And then the tea's there. I mean, you can't. That vanilla tea, Thai tea note. It does have a little bit more alcohol than I've noticed on other ones. I'm going to say, even though it's a 14.1%er, it probably drinks more along the 9-10% range noticeably on the alcohol. So you're getting a little more alcohol than I've noticed in the past with bourbon counties. The tea's not suppressing that, and the barrel effect's not suppressing that either. You know, it's good. But to be brutally honest, the bourbon barrel effect is not working with the tea. It works better in the nose than in the palate.
What did you pay for that, if you don't mind?
Oh my God, I
do you
bought
remember?
that 2 years ago.
Oh, well, I know the variants are usually significantly, sometimes double the price of the standard.
I'm going to guess in the $15 range is probably what I paid for this.
So that's actually not bad for a variant. Anyway,
No.
sorry to interrupt.
No.
Continue.
I have bought 2 of them at the liquor store over on Waco and 13th in Wichita. I can't think of the name of it. And they had several there. They sold out a long time ago. I ain't seen them since I've been back. But
You can't even get the 2021s anymore here. They're completely sold through. So, I mean,
yeah, individually the tastes are nice, kind of, but they work against each other. To me, I'm not saying it's a bad drink at all. I'm not saying it's a bad beer, a bad stout, but it's unbalanced, uncoordinated, and wonky. It starts you one way and then it goes another, and it kind of leaves it's odd. It's odd. That's the best way to describe it. I still get the vanilla and the honey and the tea, but that barrel note, that oak and the vanillas that are coming now off of it are skewing more to that bourbon note or that whiskey note. I think it's bourbon, the bourbon note on it. And that's really not meshing. The bourbon and the roasted are not meshing with the tea and the honey. For some people, this is going to work. I'm not. I got to be careful here because I don't want somebody to drink this that really likes it's going to be going. You don't know what he's talking about. I got to paraphrase this for my palate. It's kind of they're not. It's not in synchronicity, for lack of a better word, for the police. So that's the best I can do on that.
Right.
I'm still going to have to take a minute to think about a score.
Oh yeah, well we'll go back. Yeah, we'll go back around and talk a little bit more about these things because, of course, as the people out there in YouTube land know very well, after watching my channel and some of these examinations, these Bourbon County products develop as they warm. So we want to give this stream enough time to let the beers warm up a little bit so we can see how they develop as the temperature changes. I started with mine about 15 minutes, had it out of the fridge about 15 minutes before I cracked into it. So we're going on just over half an hour now. So these things are warming up a little bit. And I have noticed over the last couple sips that mine is developing a little bit. And I'll talk about that a little bit really quick. The dark chocolate notes are coming through more in the roasted malt. Whereas when I was sipping on it initially, all I was getting at that first part of the sip was the tobacco notes and the dark fruit, the fig notes. So now as it's warming a little bit, the roasted malt is coming through a little bit more. And then as I swallow it down, let me just get another sip to confirm here. Yeah. As I swallow it down, a little bit more of the oak and the vanilla are coming through on the finish. So it is developing a little bit, and it's actually kind of bringing out some more of those flavors that were there at first, but not as strong. They're coming through a little bit more now as the beer is warming up. Gosh, you just can't go wrong with these things. If you like barrel-aged beers, if you like barrel-aged stouts and you have not tried Bourbon County, do yourself a favor and go buy any of the years, but buy a standard. I would recommend like just the original Bourbon County first, and then get into some of these variants. The one that Robert's drinking. I've got a cherry wood in the fridge that I'm really excited about trying. I've never had that one before. But all of the Bourbon County lineup that I've had has been just really dynamite. Michael, are you getting any new developments as your beer is warming a little bit?
Earlier, Robert, I was talking about the cherry that's in here, and it's still hanging on pretty strong as a taste.
You were right. It was last weekend, Michael. I was wrong, and because I drank that It's Tuesday Stout on there that I gave 100. That was, and I was in Kansas City today. That's why I had to make it back, but I did not have time. I got to go way on the other side of Kansas City to see if they still got those. Because if I can find some more, I will definitely distribute like I did the Where's the Lava. But I got to find more of them. That is better than Where's the Lava. It is. At first, I was just going to give it a 99. But it's like it just kept growing on me. And it finished with that cherry note. And it didn't have a cherry adjunct to it.
Yeah, I don't think there's definitely no added cherry in this one. It's just the way this is just the way the taste profile. Well, John's getting dark fruit in his, and I'm getting cherry in this. I don't know what again, we have different palates, whatever it is.
Well, that's coming from the bourbon barrels because like Weller 107, for instance, when you try Weller 107, you're going to get a cherry note out of that Weller 107. And I think that's what got transferred into what like you're drinking. And what I was having with that brewery, that something about Tuesday. I can't even think of the name of it. I'm getting old. My mind's starting to slip. But it is probably one of the best stouts I've had in a while. I'll tell you the truth. I know we've already hashed that out on Sunday. I had to think about it because I couldn't remember if it was this Sunday or last Sunday. But I got home Saturday night from my well. So it was Sunday morning I got up and did that because last Sunday I was working, previous Sunday. So, and I'm going to be gone this Sunday and probably starting Friday till next, probably 2 weeks because I'm leaving town. Then my daughter has surgery on the 30th and we won't be back to Wichita to probably the 2nd or the 3rd, or Newton where I live now, the 2nd, 3rd. So I want to have another long hiatus. I haven't even been making videos. I just too many things going on. But I'm having my moment with you guys and enjoying it.
Same here.
It's always great to see you. And it's funny because of the beach club. It's almost like we're going. If the weather's nice, we're going. Yeah. And look, we spend a lot of money on the cabana. We have friends there. We do beer tastings there as well. It's almost like if Stout Sunday has to not be with me, it's just life and whatever. And I'm sure everybody understands. It's just that I miss it too. But I watch all the replays and they're very good.
Yeah, I usually catch. Well, I usually try to attend some portion of it, even when I'm out on the well. If I've got any reception at all, even though I can't use data out there a lot of times because it's so rural. I still do manage I can get enough data to watch the Stout Sunday and a few others, and I'll watch them and comment on them.
I have my cell phone at the beach club, but the service is so horrendous. If you get a call, you have to walk to the backside, what we call the street, because where the cabanas are, all the wood just blocks all the sound off and stuff. And supposedly you have Wi-Fi there, but it's got to be the poorest Wi-Fi you could ever imagine. It drifts and you come on and then you lose your signal. And I get good service in the bathroom, so I'll go to the bathroom if I have to get something. But it's not pleasant to have to search for the service.
But now that you mentioned that, Michael, out there in western Nebraska, where all my last few wells have been, it's sketchy. If the wind blows out of the north, you lose signal altogether. I can't even text or call. If the wind's out of the south, it blows enough signal and I can text and call. But if you go to the porta potty, the potty john, I don't know what it is about those walls in the potty john, but it amplifies the signal just enough. You can get better reception.
But isn't that funny? And mine is in the city of New York. I'm actually in Queens, which is another borough. We have to cross a bridge to get to it. But we're in more of the wide open spaces because you're on the beach and it's wide open and they have the Wi-Fi. I believe they have it. It's just they're not spending the kind of money you would have to spend if you wanted the service to be great. So what they provide is minimum service, and you do the best you can when it's there, and that's it. But if you had a job where you had to be working from the beach club, your boss would have to be understanding, and maybe there's a way you can amplify the signal by paying more money yourself to do something to improve the service. I don't know.
They give us a little.
But sometimes when I even send stuff to people who are not on, I have an iPhone. So when I send it, somebody else has an iPhone, it comes in blue. If you don't, you have the thing, it comes in green. So with and John, I think yours is green when I send it. Now, if it comes and it doesn't send it, then I have to send it as a separate text message because it likes, I'm tied in better with the other people who have similar service. Kind of weird way to set up. But I can get it to you. It just might come later, because then it'll flip around for a while and drift in cyberspace. Then eventually you get it, kind of. Or when I leave, I get more service. Right when I leave the grounds, my phone picks up from my company, from T-Mobile. I get better service.
I do recall a few. This has been a couple years ago, I guess now, but a few times you tried to join a Stout Sunday on your iPhone, and it failed miserably.
Yeah, well, you really can't do it. It's just the service is just it's bad.
Right.
So it wasn't worth trying anyway. So at least from my own computer, I get at least steady service, which is good.
Right. Cheers to Jeremy in the chat.
Jeremy on the.
Glad everybody has. There's been a lot of comments in the chat tonight talking about how everybody's glad to see your beautiful face back in here, Michael. You have been missed by the by the beer community on YouTube.
I've missed the actual coming on these sessions because I do love everybody, and everybody knows that. And once the fall comes around, things will be pretty much back to normal again, I would think. I mean,
I'm excited too about the fall. Yeah, when the baseball stuff is over and I can get back to hosting my own show regularly, that'll be nice, because it's been over a month. I think it's been 5 weeks now since I've been able to host Stout Sunday, and I didn't even host. It was a special evening edition that I did on Sunday night after I got home from baseball and all of that. So I think it was like a nighttime show. But yeah, Ron Terrio's been holding it down for the last 5-6 weeks. And then Jeremy says, last time you saw Whiskey Scout, he was live on my show, driving down the road, talking crap to play. So
that was last Friday. I was on my way home from the well. I didn't get home till Saturday morning sometime. So yeah, I had to give Blake hell. I always do.
So that's Blake Harton, who I know of anyway. I've seen him on.
That's right.
I give that boy a lot of hell. And if people probably see my rude comments and stuff like that, and they think I don't like him, but I go to bat for that boy any day of the week. I love that man. I mean,
you see the guy who just came on, Ian Ferkeron?
Yeah, I just posted.
Do you remember him from the ones we had? Remember we had the ones during the pandemic where you came on? Ian was on those shows.
Yes, I do recall Ian. Yeah, he's a good viewer. He's always
I've known him since he was like 8. I've known him since he was like 8 years old.
Oh, that's right. I actually got to meet him on. That's right. Yes. So now I really remember him now. That's right. On one of the hangouts we did, I got to see him in person on the video.
Right. He was on at least a couple of those where we did all our own individual beers when we weren't getting together.
That's right. We did the 2 or 3 beer show, and he was
Right. Well, it was the only chance people got to see you and some of the North Carolina people who'd never been up here.
Right. Yeah, he's in Pennsylvania, right?
Outside Philly.
Outside of Philly. Yeah. Okay. Good deal.
Yeah. Well, JV. Now to address JV's last comment, that's all right. Arkansas and Miss are going at it right now, but Oklahoma, we did our damage. We're ready. Yeah, we're ready. Them Sooners is already there. They're waiting on. Hopefully, Arkansas wins so we can put them in their place. New development on this too, guys. It's that honey is sticky. On the outside of my glass is sticky. My lips are all sticky, and that's from that honey.
Nice. Is the so you mentioned the tea notes? Are they developing? I've noticed that like cold tea versus hot tea. You know, you get more flavor from the tea leaves. It seems if the tea is not ice cold. So do you notice any difference in the flavor from the tea as the beer warms, or is it about the same?
No, the tea, the tea, like I said, is coming across on Thai iced tea. It's a heavy cream, a lot of tea and sugar, but it's got ice. They mix ice straight into it for the most part. So it starts as a cold concoction. And this is, like I said, starts as that. But as it changes, it's just getting more sticky on my lips. The barrel effect is probably lessening a little bit as it warms, believe it or not. But the tea notes and that Thai iced tea feels stays the same for me. It's not really changing in that aspect. A little less vanilla as it warms, but overall,
any difference in the booziness of the beer? Is more alcohol coming through, or is it about the same?
No, it's about the same. In fact, I might say it's a little less now, but I say that with the caveat, I'm probably getting used to it. No, I mean,
well,
as you start drinking it, you get a little more tolerant to it, so it's a little harder to judge after you're into half a bottle of this at 14.1%.
And I feel like you're a little bit more seasoned when it comes to that type of stuff in general, just because of your whiskey experience. You're used to that burn and that breaking through that alcohol wall, as they like to say. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
to be fair to this whole style, you do not want to turn on macro drinkers to this unless they have a certain tolerance for hard spirits, because otherwise they're going to get grossed out. They're just not going to be used to what the effect is, and they're not going to enjoy it.
This is going to be nothing like any of the regular normal 8-10% stouts that are just heavy roasted malts, maybe a couple adjuncts in there like vanilla or even coconut or something. This is nothing like that. It's a lot more intense, a lot more rich.
I'm not playing it down. I love it. I think it's great. It's just it's definitely a derived taste profile that you either like it or you probably don't.
I don't see how somebody that does not like spirits, that does not like whiskey, particularly bourbon, if you do not like bourbon at all, then I don't see how on God's green earth you could possibly like this product, because so much of the bourbon is infused in this beer, is coming across in this beer from the barrel aging. So I don't see, like, somebody that likes macro beers, that may even like say a Guinness, like just a standard lighter stout, but they don't like bourbon, and you go try, I like stout, so even though it's barrel aged, whatever, it's still a stout, I might like it. I don't see how you could like it if you don't like bourbon, because there's so much of that.
You have to at least have tried bourbon and said it's a nice spirit. I like the flavor.
And it may be a little bit too strong for you, like if you're not into the spirits as far as like the alcohol content, but if you can appreciate some of the flavors, you may find this as a happy medium from going from a stout to a barrel-aged stout versus drinking a bourbon, a straight bourbon or a whiskey, because that may be too strong for you, but you might be able to appreciate some of those flavors in a product like this without that extreme alcohol content and burn that you would get from the full-on.
Because even the lower bourbons have to be at least like 40 proof. So
I think anything less than 40 proof for a whiskey, it's not really a whiskey. It would be a liqueur at that point.
Yeah, well,
are there any, Robert, that low? Maybe not. Maybe you wouldn't.
Yeah, 40% is the bottom. That's usually your introductory bourbons. Most bourbons are going to start at 43 to 45%. The ones that are at 40% usually are bottom of the barrel stuff that they're just trying to, not always. Okay, now let's not, but it's usually more along the lines of the entry level bourbons for Jim Beam, for instance, which is still 45% actually, or used to be anyway. I think it still is. But for Henry McKenna, I think that opens at 40%. J.W. Dant, not the bonded, barrel bonded, but the regular J.W. Dant, it'll start in at 40%. There's several that do that. Right now, I can't come up. I can see the labels. I'm trying to come up with the names on the labels. But, that's usually your entry level to your bourbon lines. It starts at 40%. And it all depends on the line, too. A lot of them start at 45. Yeah, you're not.
They can go as high as 100, I guess.
Oh, they go higher than 100.
Or even much higher, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I got some 100.
Your barrel proof stuff is
proof
really
stuff downstairs that would just light
Does
you
the
up.
intensity level pick up on that really higher stuff, or is it just better?
Oh, yes, and it's not always just better though. I mean, with higher proof, usually sometimes you get more flavors. The more flavors become more discernible because you got less water cutting the product. And the less water you're using to cut the product, it acts as a watering down process. The problem is then you've got to go through a higher level of that wall. That alcohol wall you got to pierce at those levels to get to that flavor. It takes some experience. It takes literally sipping just drops out of your glass or 2 drops. It's letting your body, your taste buds, even your mind climatize to it or acclimate to it because, Bumpy's a good example. You can just tell when he takes that sip and his eyes flutter and his mind goes, he's just like.
I think he had a hard time with that Elijah Craig that we reviewed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, he did. But he's just got to slow down. And he's got to sit down some night on a TV program that he enjoys watching, drink a dram that night, 2 or 3 nights later, do it again, and just go so slow. It's no rush. That's the first thing you got to realize. You can't rush this. And you'll break through that wall. Most people will. My wife, she's an exception. She don't like cheese, so what the hell?
Some people aren't serious enough about getting to the spot.
If she never made it past cheese, she ain't gonna never get into bourbon.
Right.
Or Scotch. It becomes very entertaining sometimes watching her. But no, it's the more ABV don't always equal more flavor. My sweet spot somewhere between 50% to 50 to 55%. I really like bourbons in those ranges, which is 100 to 110 proof, because I think in that particular range, I tend to get the best of the bourbon I like. I've got enough water that it's tame enough that I can actually enjoy going through it at a moderate pace, and it's got enough flavor left that I can discern all the flavors. That's perfect for me. Some people, if it ain't 120 proof or above, it ain't worth it. Whatever. That's fine. That's them. I'm not in competition. This is what I enjoy.
You have your own palate, and you discern what you discern, and they discern what they discern.
Right. And I've developed this over time,
Right. It does take time. And that's one interesting thing, too. I feel like the Bourbon County kind of, with spirits, particularly bourbon and like single malt scotch, some of the higher end stuff in particular, you really have to sip on it and really savor the flavor. Like you can't. What's your God? I haven't watched one of your reviews in a while because you haven't been put. But it's not running from you.
Take your time. The spirit's not running from you. Take your time, sip and enjoy it. You'll be better for it.
There you go. So I feel like that applies to the Bourbon County as well. A lot of barrel aged stuff, but particularly the Bourbon County, because it's not running from you. It's going to develop as it warms up a little bit. It really takes a good 45 minutes to an hour if you're doing it right, I feel like, to really enjoy a product like this. And that's one of the reasons I'm keeping this. We're kind of talking and we're getting back to the beers, but we really need to give it adequate time to develop, and it has over the hour or almost an hour that this show has been going. These beers have developed and are continuing to develop. And if you're drinking these things too fast, you're going to miss out on some key notes, some key experiences, particularly on the palate, the aroma as well, but mostly on the palate as the beers develop as they warm. Especially
I'm getting more barrel now on mine.
Yes. So the barrel is the biggest difference that I've noticed as it warms. It's not only is more of the oak and vanilla coming through with my particular bottle on the finish, but it is a little bit more warming going down. Not that it's boozy, but the alcohol is a little bit more noticeable in the throat as you swallow it down.
The other thing I was going to ask, this is bourbon barrel aged. On some of the other spirit alcohol, there's rum barrel, there's tequila barrel.
Right.
Some of those other ones either have different intensity or it's the way it's done in a different style, and it has a different effect totally than this to me. And I guess everybody else could have their own.
Yes.
I think the tea now is doing what you were suggesting a while ago, John. I think the tea is starting to get more bolder, and it's starting to suppress that bourbon effect even more in mine. That tea is starting to come more and more forward. Now, whether it's I'm getting more used to it or whether it's actually from the warming process, can't be sure. But as it has warmed, I didn't notice it a while ago, but now we're talking probably 4 or 5 degrees warmer than it was 10 minutes ago when you
Right.
And I do notice the tea becoming more bold and more intense. That's the best way.
Okay.
That honey's still there, though. The honey and the tea are consistent in this, and the oak note stays there. The vanillas kind of come and go, and that little bit of caramel note I got up front when it was really cold, I've lost that altogether. It's all honey now. It's just all honey and black tea.
Ian is talking about Innocent Gun, which I think is Scottish, if I'm not mistaken, Irish, and those are lower alcohols on theirs. But my problem is I don't think they barrel age them long enough, because it seems the problem that I have. I've had their beers before and they're good, but I guess I like the effect of at least like 6 months of barrel aging, maybe. I don't even know how long.
And actually,
Bourbon County does it. But.
Really quick, Robert. It is Scotland. Edinburgh, Scotland is Innocent Gun is out of Scotland.
Yeah, but I thought it was brewed in England, Ireland.
Edinburgh, Scotland.
Edinburgh. It's
Yeah.
Edinburgh, but okay.
Yeah,
Well,
I'm not Scottish.
I can be right once in a while.
No, I'm not.
I think you're thinking so. Well,
thinking of
honestly, I
Murphy.
wasn't sure, so I just Googled it really quick. It says Innocent Gun is a beer brand based in Edinburgh, Scotland. It was founded in 2003 by Dougal Gunn. Anyway, it's in Scotland because they do the Scotch ales, and then they do a lot of the single malt.
Right.
I had a vanilla one that I thought was really good recently, not that long ago.
Innocent Gun makes some good. They do a really good
like
rum. Their original Innocent Gun, I believe it's aged in rum barrels, and it's really. You want to talk about a cola note in your beer? The Innocent Gun rum barrel age. Holy cow! That has got Coca-Cola all over it.
Now, John, did you have the Bourbon County Cola from?
Yes, I reviewed it with Bumpy about a month ago. We did a duo review on my channel, and we both really liked it. I think I liked it a little bit more than he did. But the interesting thing about that is it has cinnamon. It has like orange peel, coriander, and brown sugar in it to give it the cola effect, but it doesn't actually have Coca-Cola in it, or in no way is it aged in a barrel or container that once housed Coca-Cola. So I thought that was interesting how they could achieve the cola notes without actually having anything to do with the Coca-Cola process.
Well, you got to remember it's all about the aldehydes. How the aldehydes form on the alcohol depends on what you're getting. That's like getting cherry and vanilla from bourbon barrels.
Yeah,
it's all in the aldehyde. So yeah, it's strange how those form, because those chains don't always form with every particular one. It's just
right.
You're right. It's what I know I've had Innocent Gun, but I'm looking through my records. I must have not did it on Stout Sunday, but I know I've had a couple of them in the past.
Most of the Innocent Gun stuff are not porters or stouts. They're like red ales or
cream ales.
Yeah.
So they're barrel aged, but yeah, I think they have a porter or a stout but most of their stuff is not would not be on Stout Sunday just because it doesn't fall into that category.
When I had the cola, the one you did with Bumpy, it was a blind at one of my beer tastings. Doug brought it.
I remember you sent me.
And it was weird because we're going through this whole thing, and it's funny. You can't just slow the beer tasting up because they give you this. But when you're starting to drink some of these flavors, you're saying to yourself, I know this has to be barrel aged. And I didn't realize that it was Bourbon County. And he's saying, do you have any specific taste that you're getting? And I got the soda. And he said, what type soda? And I said, it tastes like a cola. And he couldn't believe that I got it. But I got the cola taste. You could taste the cola in that.
I'm a little surprised you didn't know it was a Bourbon County.
No, the Bourbon County, and I said it was barrel aged. The Bourbon County got by me. And again, just knowing that there was a cola, and I knew there was one, it just didn't register in my head. And Doug is the kind of person, he'll just throw a Bourbon County in. He doesn't care. Well, hey, give me something.
Sounds like my kind of guy right there.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Like him. And he's been on sometimes. He doesn't come on the show, but he'll make comments sometimes when we're on. And he's funny, but he's got like a sarcastic side.
Now this isn't. Wait, who is this? This is
Giant Space Monkey.
Giant Space Monkey. Okay, yeah.
I know you're talking about.
We still do stuff together, the two of us, and Audrey usually takes part in those two. But he hasn't been coming to the Thursday evening ones of late, and rather than just not do anything, he's been coming over like on Monday night because he has Monday and Tuesday off, and this way he has Tuesday to recover. And we usually do a lot for just two of us. We'll do 4 beers each, averaging 10% alcohol. Not small stuff, but sometimes Bourbon County stuff we've done and other things too. But
now, something we did discuss: mouthfeel.
Mm-hmm.
Mine's very dense, it's a very heavy mouthfeel I get with mine.
I would say mine is the lowest heavy you can get, so it's past medium. So it's definitely on the heavy side.
So this is where I'm going to kind of differentiate a little bit from, and maybe it's because I've had so many really thick, viscous motor oil type of stouts. I always find the Bourbon County to be the happy medium, literally, because I find that it has a medium body. It's high medium. It's right there on the border of between medium and heavy. And I don't want to call it thin because it's not thin, but it drinks because it's got so much flavor, but it doesn't drink like a super thick.
No, it's not
drinking experience. It doesn't cling to the insides of your cheeks. It doesn't have that weird aftertaste and that super lingering finish. It's a relatively short-lived finish. It's packed full of flavor from the beginning all the way to the end of the sip, but it doesn't stick to the inside of your mouth. It's not super thick, viscous motor oil type of drinking experience, and it finishes so smooth, so clean, and it drops off fast enough that you want to go right back in for another sip. So it's inviting. It's more inviting than something that is super thick and viscous, because when you drink that down, you got to take 5 minutes, maybe even wash it down with, get some water in your mouth and swish it around to get that clinging effect to go away so that you can take another sip. I've never had that problem with Bourbon County, and for that reason, I find that it's on the higher end of medium with the body and the mouthfeel because of how damn smooth and easy drinking it is without that syrupy effect. Now, Robert, yours may actually have more of a syrupy effect because of the honey, but I'm talking just the standard Bourbon County.
Right. Yeah, the honey, mine's a little thicker. I mean, I've had thicker. The thickest one I've ever had was that one I got out of Nebraska that time. It called itself asphalt pothole filler or something.
Well, that
thing was like good. You had a slug because it was what it wasn't a 750, 375 or something like that. That after I got done drinking that, I felt like I was carrying a slug in my belly. This is not that, no, but it is more. It's more viscous than your average stout. Mine is, but now that you said the honey, that makes.
For
Again,
instance, when we talk about the New Holland, their famous 11%
the Dragon's Milk.
Dragon,
yeah,
which some people think is not even medium. Some people think it's the high end of light.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
it's definitely medium, but it's not full bodied like this. But it's only 11%, so it has 3.5% less too. So you add.
And I know Bumpy's on Tanner's show, but maybe he'll watch this back later. I'm sure I'll talk to him about it at some point. He is bringing me 3 Dragon's Milk Stouts the next time we see each other because he recently tried it for the first time and he hated it. He thought it was a drain pour because of how thin and watery and just. So anyway, even if he thought it was a little thin, I would never in a million years think that he would have drain poured it, but he did. So I told him, I said, "You bring me that Dragon's Milk. Don't you dare dump the rest of them down the drain."
Anybody could not like any beer, but I'll tell you, he could find a lot of people he could give that to, and they would be pretty happy because it's still a very good stout.
The only thing I would think of, or that I could think of, is that maybe he got maybe there was something wrong with the 4-pack that he bought. But anyway, I'll be able to determine soon enough what the problem, if there is a problem with it, or if it's just his palate.
Bumpy's becoming very discerned. His palate is becoming less tolerant of bad. He is starting. No, it's not nothing bad.
No, he's very particular. He's getting
particular. Not worse. I don't want to use the term worse. It's not worse. He's just becoming more refined, and his palate is becoming. I mean, he's far in the beer world blows me away. I mean, I can't even think. I mean, that's what I aspire to.
Yeah.
That's what I really look toward to be more discernible like him in the beer world. But yeah, I've noticed that especially in the last year or so. But it's based on experience. Bumpy just has so much experience. I mean, he knows more and more what it takes to get to where he really wants and likes, and he's starting to be able to pick apart the little flaws that I don't get, and that's right. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's
not at all. I just told him, I said, "Don't you dare dump the rest of that."
I'm with you.
Tell you,
I'll drink it. I'll find a way to drink
Tell
it.
him, John, you're happy to have them just as extra beers for your own consumption.
That's right. So, guys, do we want to go ahead and go back around and give our final thoughts and ratings on these beers? We're going just over an hour now, so I figured maybe we could wrap it up here.
Ready anytime you are.
You go
Michael,
first?
You want to go first, Michael, since you kind of started out?
Okay. All right. As you know, I cannot give this 100. I don't give hundreds. And I'm not going to give it a 99 either. I'm going to give it a 98, but it's a solid 98. And I've given Bourbon Counties either 98s or 99s through the years, except the Midnight Orange, which I gave it.
Right.
We gave the Midnight Orange variant. I don't know. Do you know what year that was? I'm not even sure what.
I think it's a 2019, and I'm pretty sure you gave it like a 96.
I gave it a 95.
95. Oh, okay. Wow.
But Robert, I took off 3 points because the Midnight Orange tasted like Midnight Cherry. And I said if they named it Midnight Cherry instead, I would have given it a 98. But because there was no orange at all, I took off those points. But the cherry in this is different than the cherry was in that variant. So I love cherry in these stouts. And that other one you mentioned sounds like it had even more cherry. It's really beautiful.
Holy cow. There is thick sediment at the bottom of this. Let me see if I can. Hey, Siri, turn on flashlight.
This is the 2018, Robert, so it's been in the bottle almost 4 years.
I turned flashlight on.
Let's see if I can. You see that?
I can see the color variance and I can see the sediment too.
It is. I have never seen sediment like that in a Bourbon County before. Wow. Hey Siri, turn off flashlight.
Now you're making me do it. I gotta stop.
I turned flashlight
if I have any in the bottom of mine.
The only reason I noticed it was because when I just swallowed down that sip, I got a chunk.
Okay.
Not really.
Mine has no sediment.
No, mine neither. I just look at the loads of thickness on the edges of my glass, though.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just clinging, all that.
Maybe it's a 2020 thing that ours don't because they were only 2 years old. And
Yeah.
yours is 4 years old. It's hard to determine why you would have sediment and we don't.
Yeah. This is just thick.
But
and
John,
clean.
There you go. Look.
Yeah, there's a chunk.
I can see it.
Good
Yep.
Lord. I've never seen that in Bourbon
I
County.
can see it now. The difference between, okay, I'm going to do something I haven't done. I'm giving it a 98.5.
Okay.
Because I don't want, it's almost like it's so close to being a 99 that I have to be fair to it. So I split the difference, 98.5. That's it.
All right. Wow.
It's close to being a 99, which is the highest score I can get.
I will go. So here's, all right. I've been thinking about this for a little while. And I've given a few hundreds. You know, I will, it's not like I won't give 100. Man. So I've given the Northwood Stout Edition 100, the Blueberry Almond Extract one. I've given I think the Bramble Rye maybe was 100. And then one of the variants, I think it was a 2019, I may have given 100. This is so beyond even those because the way that it's developed. The only thing at the end that kind of threw me off, and it's not a bad thing, sediment's not a bad thing, but I was just a little shocked with the sediment in Bourbon County because I've never seen it before. I feel like I would be doing it a disservice if I did not give it 100 because it has the most tobacco notes of any beer I've ever had. Bourbon County being the main beer that I'm talking about, some of the different variants and different years have put off a significant like sweet yellow tobacco. This has got so much tobacco, so much dark fruit. As it warms, the barrel notes and the dark chocolate and the vanilla and everything just comes through and makes it that much better. I'm going with 100. So Alex, the beer master, if you're watching this, eat your heart out because I know, he would love that. But I got to give it 100. I'm going to go 100. If you can get if you could still get a 2018 Bourbon County original, I would highly, highly recommend it. And it just doesn't get better than this. It's world class.
Okay.
All the way.
I got it. I scored it.
I would like the Bourbon County original better than this one. I have to be brutally honest. I want to say, when I first started this, because it was so disjointed, it was just a 95. But as it's warmed and as it's got much warmer and the flavors, even though the tea is overriding a lot of it, it's becoming kind of one-noted in the tea range, sort of. To me, I'm getting less and less barrel effect as this is what's left as we get to this point. But it's good. And I can't, everything in there's quality. It's just kind of not what I'm really looking for. I mean, it's kind of odd in a certain way. So the 95, I will go ahead and increase it to a 96, but I can't go no higher than that. 96 on the warm side. And that's not saying it's bad, guys. It's not bad. But I think this has got to be one of those that it really strikes your palate just right. For somebody that really is this flavor profile appeals to, they're going to say 100 all day long. And power to them. There's nothing wrong with it other than it's just a little bit, the flavors don't mesh so well. And that might have been the thing with the other tea when you're talking about why it didn't score so well either.
Yeah.
That's the best I can deal with it. Now, do I like it? Am I going to drink it? Yeah. This is my second one, guys. I drank the first one. It was fine. I mean, there's nothing overtly wrong with it. But it's been 2 years since I drank it.
Right.
It's not like I got Instacall memory anymore. I've only got so much input, and I'm 50, almost 57, and my input's starting to fail. I got to get some output before I get some more new input.
I made this point before. I'm going to make it again, not to be disparaging of Founders. I find the Bourbon County to be more consistent bourbon barrel-aged beers than the Founders. And Founders has many examples that I've also given high scores to. So it's not like I don't like them as well. It's something about these that gives them a little check mark.
An edge.
Maybe it doesn't do that with everybody.
I agree with you. The Founders makes incredible beers as well. A lot of their barrel-aged stouts, particularly the CBS. I mean, you're talking about world-class beers also. But I think to your point, and I think what I'm about to say you'll agree with, is the Founders is – so the barrel notes don't come through quite as much, and they focus more on the additives, like with the maple syrup and the sweet. They're sweeter, and the sugary sweet notes that you get from almost all, like even the KBS. Yeah, it's got coffee in it, which is a very strong note, but it's got the chocolate, and it's a sweet chocolate. Right. It's like milk. It's like they melt Hershey's chocolate bars in there. Right. So I feel like the sweetness level and the coffee in a lot of their barrel-aged beers, it takes away a little bit from the pure, the true barrel notes that you get more with the Bourbon County, because even though like the one Robert has, they have additives in some of the variants, but they're not like super sweet, sugary, like the tea leaves, the honey's sweet, but they seem to find the balance a little bit better, I think.
Right. But I'm not saying I don't like Founders too.
Oh no, Founders is awesome stuff.
You know, they're when the food co-op stopped carrying them, it was like a blow to me, because I don't like buying 4-packs and stuff, because I don't like tying up that much money and going out and spending $23 for a 4-pack or whatever they are. Maybe you can get it sometimes for 20, whatever. So when I could get single bottles, I liked it a lot better. I want to show something before we get off.
Yeah. We're gonna go ahead and wrap it up. But any show and tell or any shout outs or anything?
Well, let me go. I got
to do it.
I know on the KBS, I'm looking back through my notes. On the KBS, I gave a 97. And on the CBS, I gave a 100. That's one of the few hundreds I've actually.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So the CBS really scored high. I've had more of these, but I can't find them. I don't know. I must have drank them on something else and not recorded it. Because I've had a couple other Bourbon Counties other than what I got here. Yeah, let me go. I'll be right back. Go ahead, guys.
Okay.
You're listening, though, Robert, right?
What?
You're listening, though, to what I'm going to say. I'll wait till you come back to show it to you.
I'm just going to show you what I bought today.
Okay. Because, John, this is going to freak you. You're going to be ready to flip out.
Uh-oh. All right.
But for a weird reason, too. It's not something that I expected when I got to the co-op either. But Koozie will sometimes surprise me. And I wish I could buy more, but Audrey was with me, so I had to temper my purchase down. I bought enough that I'm happy, and that's it. But I'm really happy with the Bourbon County, by the way.
Yeah, it's good stuff. First Bourbon County I've ever had.
I don't know if I've ever seen floaties, which is the same thing you're talking about, in Okay, so I go to the food co-op yesterday, and for the last couple of months, they haven't had too many of these good deals, so I've been disappointed. But I go in, looking around and stuff. Can either of you get Flying Dog of Frederick, Maryland?
I haven't seen it, but that doesn't necessarily mean I can't get it. I'm still new to the area, so I'm still kind of finding things.
I don't think it's in Kansas. I'd be surprised.
So I don't recall ever seeing it.
So anyway, I go and I take a shit. They supposedly had an IPA, but they didn't have any of it left. And I look at the shelf, and these are like their super specials. So it's called Cream Team. It's cookies and cream flavored milk stout. You see the alcohol.
9.5?
9.5.
9.5,
Okay, so the reason that she cut the price so much is the freshness date is, let's see, when is it officially? Sunday, this coming Sunday. Now, on a 9.5% cream stout, I don't think you have to worry about it going bad this Sunday. That's just my opinion on how these beers are. It is a milk stout, so it's not like it's a bourbon barrel aged thing.
Right.
Yeah, Ian would be close to Frederick because it's just from where he is. Maryland is very close to Pennsylvania there. So it's an ale brewed with chocolate, lactose, and natural flavors. And I don't know who, some famous artist does the artwork. You see, it's like little monsters flying around.
Right.
I'm not even sure. Anyway, so I see it, and it's, what would you consider now? Obviously, since I'm making a fuss about this, what would be a good price for a bottle of this?
Oh, I would
I
say
mean, a
like
really good price, something where you go in and you say it can't be that cheap.
$2.50.
yeah. I was
That's
gonna
not-
say $5 or $6 for a bottle would be a really good price for something
Okay.
of that ABV and
Okay, now because it's reached the date, the Food Co-op is one of these kind of companies where they feel they can't make their maximum profit. They have it marked down to $1.04.
oh,
I would
geez.
buy it. Yeah, I'd be buying it too.
So what I did is I bought one for my son-in-law, Chris, one bottle, and I brought 2 6-packs for myself. And I probably would have even bought more, but you know, it almost doesn't matter what the price is when Audrey's there and they're being checked out. What do you need all this beer for? You know, you go through this kind of stuff, and I do have a lot. It's just that I try not to overdo stuff. But something like this, you don't see that often. Is how I look at it. And I had one last night. It's really good. It's not sweet. I thought the one negative you could get with cookies and cream, it could be too sweet with the lactose and whatever. They've done a good job of it, you know, making it the flavors together, so it's very good. So on my scale yesterday, I gave it an 8.25 out of 10, which I guess in our numbers would be 93, 94 kind of thing.
Yeah.
But
I'd
again,
say you got a hell of a deal.
Untapped, it got 4. So most of the people thought it was really good.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
Which is, Robert, what do you got to show?
I stopped at a liquor store that was close to where my daughter got her MRI today. And that's the only liquor store I visited the whole time I was up there. And I never seen the orange vanilla cream. It is 4 16-ounce cans, 5.7% alcohol by volume. And the best buy date is 14 December 2022. So I got plenty of time to enjoy it. But I have never seen
we get Boulevard stuff, but we wouldn't get something like that. We get their main stuff. We don't get.
You gotta remember, I got this in Kansas City, and
I'm saying it's a company that's in Missouri, so you're
right.
close to it.
Oh, where I bought this wasn't more than 5 miles from the distillery itself.
Okay, so you're very close. We get the standard Boulevard stuff. We don't get any of their fancy stuff though. We get some of their stouts though.
Yeah, she had her MRI done, then we went to the aquarium up there. We was leaving the aquarium and she had to use the bathroom, so we stopped at Taco Bell and I looked at my rearview mirror and it said, liquor store. I said, and I was in Missouri side, and I said, oh. So she come out of Taco Bell. We went right across the street.
Ian, send us a picture. Audrey will get a kick out of it. Ian said you want to say. Ian said,
oh, so Josh, apparently, Josh, he's in Virginia. He said that his girlfriend Carrie picked up some of that beer.
Cool.
If
so that's interesting that it's available, because I thought maybe because you're so close to the brewery that might be an exclusive that's only sold regionally, but apparently it's available in Virginia.
Yeah, I don't really know their distribution is. I don't understand, but there's some things I can get you guys haven't seen, but for the most part, miscellaneous, he gets everything that I've seen. That's the one down there in Florida.
He gets the Bourbon County off years still too somehow. His one place used to have bottles from years back and stuff.
He seems to have a lot of access to all the Boulevard down there. So that must be a strong selling area for their distribution point for their company.
But just north of Palm Beach, Florida. So
he's in Florida. There's a bunch of older retired people, and they have nothing better to do than to drink all these high alcohol bourbon barrel aged beers.
There you go. But anyway, I'll put it in the fridge. I'll probably be leaving day after tomorrow. I don't know. It depends on when Jeremy gets here. We're going to drive to Sheridan, Wyoming after he gets here. So I got a long drive Thursday night.
Now, Wyoming is how many states from Kansas?
Oh, it's only 2 states. Either I go through Colorado up or I go through Nebraska over.
But you're talking about big states. They're not
but Sheridan's on the north end of Wyoming, almost. I don't know, not too terribly far from Montana. So. we got to go up there, and I'm going to go over to Cody and see the gun museum over there. I've always wanted to do that.
Oh, nice.
Sounds really good.
So that's
I
our
wish your
goal.
daughter good luck with her testing and everything too.
Yeah, yeah. She the MRI. She read us some of the results. It showed no new growth or anything, which is good. So what they're going to do now is the surgery on the 30th is they got to replace 2 vertebrae, the C5 and C6 in her neck. The cancer has eaten those vertebrae away. So they're going to replace them with graphite or something like that vertebrae. He's told us. And then they're going to put 2 titanium rods to support it on the backside. Then after and they're going to cut away all the rest of the cancer there as best as they can because it's intertwined with their spinal cord. So there's only so much they can actually cut away without really doing more damage because you can't damage the spinal cord or the 2 blood vessels that supply blood supply to the spinal cord as it goes through there. So they got to it's a delicate thing. But after that, then they're going to come back in with proton radiation therapy, which is very directional. They can control the depth and everything, and she'll have 4 to 5 weeks of that, and then knock on wood, everything will be fine.
And that's how you have to speak as positive as
Absolutely.
you can.
Well, we'll keep her in our thoughts and prayers. But yeah, it sounds positive. Sounds like they're on top of it.
Yeah, well, we've been working at it. Chemotherapy was kind of a bust, but it sounds like it didn't grow though, and that's the important thing. But it didn't really show, I don't think, much signs of shrinkage or anything. So,
Okay.
But
All right.
that's where we're at with her. And thank you guys. And yeah, I appreciate you keeping her in her prayers because she's scared going into this surgery, and as all people are. I mean,
That's
this is her
normal
second
'cause you
surgery.
don't know what's going to happen, so it's normal.
Right.
to
And
have that kind of reaction. Okay.
And it would be scary for me. I'd be a liar to say otherwise.
Scary for everybody, for sure.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean,
Absolutely.
I don't know the next time I'm going to be on any of these shows, but I'll be watching from now.
Likewise, yeah.
Through the summer.
Well, guys, why don't we'll go ahead and close out the live show here. We're going on an hour and 27 minutes. Bourbon County, buy it, try it. Let us know what you think. If you like barrel aged beers and you haven't tried the Bourbon County, you really need to, because you're missing out on some awesome stuff. So I want to thank Michael Kormaroff and Robert the Whiskey Scout for joining this Bourbon County examination. Hopefully we'll be able to do another one here before too long. Thank you to everybody in the chat. We really appreciate it. We had some great comments tonight. So thank you everybody for stopping by, and we'll see you here all on the next live stream. Until then, cheers everybody.
Cheers.